so I don't,
Burn.
end up. Only problem is I've got to move this over here a little bit so I can actually grab it with my left hand because my right hand is knackered. Anyway, hello one and all. My name's John Clare. This is
Roman Prish.
This is the Post Watch Post Mortem. We are just after watching. After much criticism of Marvel movies, we decided today would be the day we kind of finally break the ducks for this podcast and watch a Marvel movie. And the one we watched was Thor: Love and Thunder. And bloody hell, that film's completely inconsistent, garish. It's got surprisingly high scores.
Yes, I saw that too as well.
I can't fathom for the life of me why. I honestly don't think this film is very good at all. It has some good moments, especially later on in the film when the cinematography seems to take a marked jump in quality. For some reason.
Is when they started to take themselves seriously.
I don't even think it's that. I think what it is, right, just to kind of nail down my particular criticisms of this film, especially early on, it's stupid. The Guardians of the Galaxy feature in it for all of 5 minutes, despite the lead up from Endgame.
It's a wasted plot line, basically.
It's a completely wasted plot line. Also, the fact is that this film jumps all over the place. It feels like this film was entirely shot in reshoots or put together through reshoots. Because the cinematography is at times awful. The CGI is at times awful. The script writing at times is atrocious. But there are certain moments more towards the end of the film. I did kind of like the kids' action scene. When he bestows the power of Thor to the rest of the kids.
Just give them the power of Thor for a limited time only.
Yeah,
disclaimer kind of thing. For limited time.
And also you know what I find really peculiar? Early in the film, I didn't feel, despite the fact that they've been in two previous Thor films together. Early in the film, it felt weird, like Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman didn't have any chemistry. Then close to the end, when she realized she's dying, all of a sudden it's like the feels kind of hit you a little bit. Or they hit me a little bit. I was actually like, oh bloody hell, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah,
but for the most part, man, I just think this film. Also, Christian Bale shockingly underused. I don't know. I mean, I just think it's not very good.
Yeah, for an actor like Christian Bale, that's it's a bit of a. I think he does. He says something that he will never make a superhero movie again.
Who did?
That's Christian Bale said that. Something like that.
Oh no, I think. Well, Thor. It says at the end, Thor will return. So I'd say basically,
no,
Disney.
not. I mean, the other. Oh, sorry.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Oh yeah. Christian. To be honest with you, he didn't really play a superhero as Batman. Really,
and Batman is not the Batman from Nolan is not really like a superhero movie. It's like a dark thriller. In the robe of
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
But also,
with his Batman now, basically.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Batman's still my single favorite comic book character ever. I
really like the trilogy of Nolan trilogy.
Yeah, the Nolan trilogy is fantastic. I haven't seen the Batman yet, so we'll definitely have to watch that at some point.
Yeah.
I've seen very little of the DCEU. I don't really care to watch much of it, to be perfectly honest with you, because what I have seen is fucking dreck. But yeah, in terms of this film, it's just not very. Like I said, it feels like most of the film was shot in the reshoot.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like there's a lot of the original film there. It's like it just feels so kind of pasted together, especially the first 3/4 of it.
I think the movie was not made seriously.
No, I think from what I understand, I don't know how true this is, right? Because this is the thing with YouTube and the game of telephone. You don't really know what's going on. You just hear from what other people say.
If you were not there, you don't know.
Exactly. But in the main, from what I've heard, Taika Waititi was just being a bit too silly and a bit too much free reign, was changing too much of the film as it went on. But then also that could be the studio blaming Taika Waititi, because
it's not a failure. This movie is not a failure.
It's not a failure. It made money, from what I understand. It made money, but it's as a quality piece of filmmaking, I think it is a failure.
I think it's not very good. I think this movie is a kid movie.
It's not even a kids movie.
I think it is.
No, but all Marvel movies are kids movies because they're designed to sell merchandise to little boys and little girls, right? That's what they're designed to do, right? So they're all kids movies. Like Star Wars is a kids movie.
Like
Ghostbusters is a kids movie.
Can I
They're
say
all kids
something?
movies.
The theme of the first Iron Man is not really a kid movie.
Yeah, but there's still like kids running around dressed as Iron Man. 8-year-olds running around dressed as Iron Man.
Yeah, to be fair.
So, like, there may be adult themes, but they are essentially kids movies. Let's call a spade there.
Same with Star Wars or anything like that.
Exactly, they're all kids movies. I mean, like, and I'm not saying that disparagingly. I mean, I love good fantasy. I love, I don't care. I still I've got a peculiar soft spot for the first Ghostbusters movie. I don't think it's as good as everyone makes out. It is.
Me too. I don't think it's that great of a movie.
No.
It's a generation movie. Maybe it was great in cinema. It was an amazing experience in cinema.
I don't even think that. I think basically the big problem with the original Ghostbusters, I think, it's not to say that it's a bad movie per se, but there was a lot of it's what would be the film? Because I haven't seen it in a few years now, but I watched it repeatedly as a kid.
We did watch it like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen it since. Is the point I'm making. But so it's not fresh in the memory per se. But like I said, I've watched it a good few times, especially as a kid. There is a soft spot for it for me. It is in some ways, it's a very good film, but I don't know. The sense of humor in it, I think, doesn't necessarily age well. Maybe I'm not too sure. But that aside, they're all kids movies. Thor: Love and Thunder is a kids movie. I hate Thor's suit. The new Thor suit. I think it was fucking awful.
I think it was a joke because he had a cool suit when he in the beginning of the movie. He had the Guardian of the Galaxy jacket, rocket jacket, and then when he go to full Thor mode, he has his black suit. That's pretty cool. But when you see, what's the name of the character?
Which character?
The love interest of Thor.
Oh, Jane Foster.
Jane Foster. When she saw her, it's like you see this guy with like shiny thing, so you make it extra shiny. That's the joke. Like, yeah, it's just making extra more to top up.
It's not a joke that lands.
It's not a joke that not a lot of jokes land.
That's just
really.
Not funny.
No, some of them are, but at some point you're just like, oh, that's like it's like it's like a friend that's funny, like doing silly stuff. But if you have this friend for like a full 2 hours in a room, it's just like drain your energy. Like,
yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the whole kind of like Marvel machine in action. I don't know, but I just think this film is. It just feels like it's been chopped up. The only thing I absolutely love about it is Guns N' Roses as the theme, as the soundtrack. I love Guns N' Roses. The first album especially. So I love the fact that he used a bit of November Rain in the final boss fight.
Yeah.
I thought that was great with the kids fucking tearing shit up. Oh, mate, that guitar solo is awesome. Also, Sweet Child of Mine. He used Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle. It was used before. It was used in Thor Ragnarok. Was it?
No, it wasn't. That was a fucking Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, and they overused that in Ragnarok. The thing is, Ragnarok is a much better film
because he has actually the character go through a lot emotionally as well.
Yeah,
in the movie,
it goes through a lot of emotion. The emotions actually work. I think it goes through a lot of. The arc works, the relationship between Thor and Loki,
the flashy 80s sci fiction mixed with the
Jack Kirby influenced visuals,
mixed with the Nordic theme and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but this movie was like prompt to 11.
Yeah, I don't think it's just like it's almost like they gave. Oh yeah, Taika Waititi made us money last time out, so let's just let him do the same thing again. And I don't think it works nearly as well. It's like what film we'll talk about before with Lightning in the Bottle.
Which one was the Lightning in a Bottle?
I think Thor Ragnarok was Lightning in a Bottle, definitely.
Yeah, it is. And nobody was expecting to be that good.
Yeah, I mean,
coming back from the what's the name of the second Thor movie? Dark World,
which was fucking miserable, to be quite frank.
It was the opposite. Basically, Thor: Love and Thunder and Thor: The Dark World are the complete opposite of each other.
Yeah, But the thing is, it seems to me that like with Thor, it's hit one, miss one, hit one, miss one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The first Thor film's not bad. Like the first Thor film's okay. You can tell it was constrained by budget and everything else. But then again, creativity is born of constrained people.
Yeah.
So the first Thor film I thought was okay. The second one I thought was a bit dour and a bit miserable, and I didn't like it at all. The third one I quite enjoyed very much, and the fourth one I just don't think is very good.
I don't think me either. There's a lot of problem. I think there's a lot of problem in the writing as well.
The script is fucking awful, and I think a lot of that is probably, especially early on in the film. It's just like, I mean, me and you even said it as we were watching it. Show don't tell. I mean, they have no idea of the concept.
No,
and not only that, it's like, I mean, I've praised.
But even when they show, it's like cringy, like, you know, they make us see the flashback of the life of Thor. You know, like the entire flashback. So we watch a moment from Avenger Endgame. We watch a moment from this part or this part.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it's like it was told by a kid. The story was told by a kid, and also what I really hate is
speaking of, I hated Korg's voiceover narration. It fucking grated me immensely. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, me too. It kind of it can just it destroyed a little bit the like every bit of seriousness there was, kind of destroyed it a little bit.
Yeah, I just thought it was fucking awful.
And then like they showed us like he lost his hammer. No, the only way he showed his hammer was the theater group that came back again from Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, they repeated that joke. That was funny the first time, but it wasn't good the second time.
No, and also like it was shorter in the first one. It was short and sweet. It was just the death of Loki.
Yeah,
which was funny because Loki was watching his own death happening for the hand. Like these guys as Odin.
There's a meta thing.
There's a meta thing going on, yeah. And this one is just it's just they're back for the sake of being back.
Yeah. Oh, it worked in the first. It worked in the last film. Let's put it in this one.
Yeah. No, I didn't watch because it was the context was more because it was they were there to tell you, the hammer shattered here, stuff like that. Yeah. Why do you tell that part of the story? Like it's not the most important part of the story. Yes, the father died, but the part that the hammer, like, yes, I don't know.
I just think thing is, like, I mean, I've praised movies before in terms of like the economy of the storytelling, but you can go a bit too far. I felt the first film, there's a difference between telling story economically and well. Like for instance, in the first, I'd say opening, in the first, like again, I had my issues with John Wick 2. But the great thing about John Wick 2 is like in the start, they recapped the first film, and they've done it very quick, but very well.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Like
but with this one, they introduced gore, in this kind of like very brief rush scene where his daughter dies and he meets.
That's a beautiful scene. That's a beautiful scene.
Yeah,
it's a bit silly because
but it undercuts it later on. About 2 minutes later, undercuts it with the god looking stupid and talking absolute bollocks.
Yeah,
you know, it completely undercuts.
Also, I don't like. There's a lot of plot thing that's just like, he's dead and his sword is the killer sword and stuff like that. Who will use it will kill him, but we don't talk about it. It's dead now or something like that. I'm rubbing, but like
no.
What I'm trying to explain is like at the beginning. The scene when Christian Bale character meet with his god and find the dead body of the god killer.
Yeah.
And the god explained to him that the sword, what it is for, maybe not explain to him, but basically monologue for the audience. Because it didn't have to say that.
Yeah, it's like this really stupid, bad exposition.
Exposition for the sake of exposition because the audience don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, like, it's not treating your audience with any degree of intelligence.
Same, I'm sorry for the the scene when they are in the tent thing and they found, like, a piece of paper with a drawing of the
yeah, she's near the end of the movie,
Judy Foster never saw the gate before. Nobody saw the gate. Nobody know how the gate looked like. It's the gate to something. But like, because there's a figure there, she figured out that was the gate. And also, why the key of the most ancient god
is an axe that was made in like a movie,
yes, exactly.
the last movie.
In the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what should it be?
Stupid.
Do you know why should that be the key for the thing?
What?
It should have been Zeus Thunder.
Even Mjolnir's been around for a long fucking time. Why not use Mjolnir?
But like, no, I think the thunder of like the lightning of Zeus should have been the key.
Maybe, yeah.
And like they say, oh, we need that weapon. Do you see the twist? Oh, we need that weapon to defeat the guy.
And it turns out to be
basically they bring the weapon, the key to the main.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, like, I don't know, mate. I mean, I thought.
Also, there's a cutting scene when basically instead of confronting Zeus, Thor is being taught by Zeus how to use the lightning. And the scene was removed, and it's one of the extra scene there is and that we never see. So you see that maybe because they wanted an evil bad guy at the end of Thor, they tried to do that conflict relationship instead of that friendship relationship.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I just think like I mean, whatever studio notes were put into the makers of the movie. I mean, I'm not being funny. Executives. Do yourselves a favor, right, and stay the fuck out of the creation of just stay the fuck out of it. Like I've got no issue with producers or creative people. I mean, again, like I know I've hammered this fucking point 1,000 times already, and I'm going to keep fucking hammering it. The fact is, you've got all these fucking pen pushers and bean counters coming along with their creative notes and what they feel. Look, at the end of the day, why do you think your movies cost so much fucking money? Because you keep interfering. And then because you keep interfering, you keep driving up the cost, which means your movie has to make more money. You're fucking by you're interfering because you're worried about how much money you're going to make.
You're spending more money.
You're spending more money and driving up the amount of money you need to make a profit. It's fucking retarded. Look, the lot is just stay the fuck out of it. Like, I mean, like it really does annoy me. And this movie is like. I'm not like a Marvel fanboy, but I did enjoy a lot of our early Marvel movies because you can tell there was a vision. There was like a beginning, a middle, and an end. They had an ending. They had an end in mind. You know, with this whole kind of Thanos Infinity Saga. It may have been like a very loose sketch, but that sketch became more kind of detailed and filled out as time went on. But you just got a feeling now that Marvel don't have a fucking clue in which direction they're going in. Like apparently, like. Kang is supposed to be the big bad guy, but also the Skrulls are going to be the big bad guys. Apparently, the new Skrull, was it Secret Invasion? Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's not doing very well on Disney Plus.
No, I think we reached the end of the Marvel magic.
I think what Marvel need to do is
I don't know what. I didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy. But apparently, people are saying good things about it.
Oh, am I saying it?
But it's the last movie of James Gunn.
Yeah, before he goes to DC. Yeah.
Oh, I saw James Gunn Suicide Squad as well. Brilliant movie. I saw it in cinema.
I haven't seen that, but I did see Peacemaker. And
Peacemaker is funny as well. Like,
yeah,
funny.
I enjoy Peacemaker. I thought it was good crack.
But like it make it you can make something silly and make a superhero and doing some. You can have risk. You can have like I don't know.
I just think Marvel don't have. I think Marvel don't have a creative vision anymore.
No.
Like I've heard, I remember. Oh, this is one dude I watched on.
They keep like creating bad guy, and then they cancel it because the actor did something wrong or stuff like that. They're like recasting everybody, stuff like that. It's a mess. It's a mess.
I think, to be honest with you, like I said, I think one point I've heard is that Kevin Feige is spread too thin. Now I don't know how true that is because I'm obviously not fucking anywhere near the upper echelons of Marvel Studios or whatever.
No, we probably never know because those things are kept secret.
Exactly. I mean, like we don't know the inner workings of the Marvel Studios, but there is a definite feeling that like the quality of the Marvel product since Endgame has gone down markedly. Like I haven't really enjoyed much of what I've seen. Like Doctor Strange, didn't enjoy it. Again, like this film, like Love and Thunder, there were one or two pieces. The one or two pieces where it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But it was a chopped up, inconsistent mess, just like Thor: Love and Thunder was.
And every scene when there basically no fighting, it was boring. I'm sorry. The scene when they lost the children and they're like all talking about like what to do, stuff like that. It's the most boring scene ever.
Yeah, and I don't know.
And there's like every time that Thor character open his mouth, it's to say something stupid.
Yeah, he's a doofus.
And at some point in the movie, everybody's mouth is saying something stupid. Nobody is carrying the movie.
No, I mean, what makes me laugh is like you got a cast like Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, like fucking. You got Russell fucking Crowe. You got Christian Bale. You got these amazing. You've got a brilliant fucking cast there.
Make a better script.
It's like
and better dialogue as well.
Yeah, the dialogue is awful. The script is awful. The plotting's, like I say, it just feels horribly. It feels like it was chopped together. It's like I know. I said this to you like as we were watching it. Like at the end, there's a noticeable jump up in the quality of special effects and cinematography. It's like what's going on here? I felt I felt exactly the same when I was watching Doctor Strange. There's like this. I don't know, unless you pay attention, you may not notice it. And I'm not trying to be like patronizing here, but there are definite times when you look at the film and it looks like a cheap TV show. Then all of a sudden it looks like a $200 million film. It feels really weird and disjointed like that. It doesn't feel, there isn't a consistent quality all the way through. Like some of the editing was fucking awful. It was really bad. And like, I don't know, man. I mean, like, for a film that cost $250 million fucking dollars, do you know what I mean? And it only just barely made its money back by, I think its take was about 750, wasn't it? Or 780.
And also, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness had the same rating as well, like a 6.9.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, to us, I mean, look, let's get the ratings out of the way now, right? In Thor: Love and Thunder, I'd give that high threes, mid to high threes. I didn't, like I said, there's a couple of redeeming qualities about it. I love Guns N' Roses, so you know, you put Guns N' Roses in the soundtrack, I'm on board.
I giggle at some point in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, there was some stuff that,
like, but sometimes I was like, oh, it's just going to do something silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing funny because you're just expecting to be something funny, basically.
Yeah, I mean, none of the jokes fucking land. Not one.
No, some land. But like,
all right, okay, one or two might get like a huh.
Yeah, but like something with a hammer, like doing like when he's trying to call the hammer and there's hammer coming, that's coming three times. So we just basically, we know the hammer is going to come down and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's this whole thing about Thor and like the fact.
When I explain the scene, because I'm explaining, but it's hard for people that didn't watch the movie to see. So yeah, it's like when he sees hammer. Former hammer Mjolnir coming back, he's trying his best to try to get his hammer like in his hand, which is you pointed out at the Avenger Endgame. He said like, "Oh, it's okay, you can have the little one." Yeah.
He actually passes Mjolnir to Captain America, so he can use the big fuck off axe.
Yeah,
and now he wants his Mjolnir back. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, are the creators even watching their own fucking movies? Like. I don't know. It's just like all these little inconsistencies. Like no one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
You know, throw the fucking throw all the money in the world at it and hope for the best. Do you know? I mean, look. And again, I love Taika Waititi. I've Jojo Rabbit, brilliant film. Thor Ragnarok, really enjoyed. What We Do in the Shadows, really loved it. Even the TV series at times, but this film feels like it was chopped to bits. It feels like totally inconsistent. None of the jokes, most of the jokes don't fucking land. It's just like Thor sounds like a doofus. The only time I felt invested was right at the fucking end when Jane Foster's about to die. You know, it's like the only time it's like, wait a minute, all of a sudden this film wants to take itself seriously. Jesus fuck, man, really frustrating.
Can I say something about Marvel and review, like MPB and stuff like that? Those reviews are way too high for what they actually are.
From the ones I've seen,
is it because MPB have to?
Let me see what ones I've seen so far out of all this. Like, go on, scroll back. Okay, Spider-Man: No Way Home I thought was pretty good.
7.9, but like Thor is 6.2.
Eternals is fucking boring.
6. Like they have like
Shang-Chi's not a 7.4. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's not. Like, even Black Widow.
Widow is a disappointment.
Like,
do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen WandaVision.
7, seriously?
I don't know. I
haven't watched it, but
I haven't seen the new Black Panther movie. I don't know how good or bad that is. I don't know how good or bad Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania is. I don't know how good or bad. I haven't seen all of them. but I've seen enough. And to be perfectly honest with you, like I said, I honestly reckon Marvel. Well, actually, no, you said it earlier on. Marvel's kind of lost its magic.
Yeah.
Right, whatever that was, its quality. I think its quality has gone down, noticeably gone down. I think there's obviously because because it was at one point printing money for Disney. There's so much like instead of like that early creative like experimentation there was with the Marvel Cinematic Universe when in the lead up to the first Avengers movie. And I don't honestly think. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's a little bit of a mess, but I don't think. What's the second Avengers movie called again? Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. I don't think is that bad. It's not that good, but it's not that bad.
I think all of them are not that good, but not that bad.
Well, no, the first Avengers is like the first Avengers movie. It was basically like a cultural touch point, and justifiably so, I think, because it was the first of its type. But I just think Marvel have kind of revisited the world so many times, and there's so much like, you know, content is king. Well, there's such a thing as too much of it. You know, you can have too much of a good thing.
Like overflow, oversaturation. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think
does feel like that.
I think we're reaching an oversaturation of Marvel.
I don't think we're reaching it. We've reached it, dude.
Yeah, we reached it.
I think we're there. And there's no, to be perfectly honest with you, like.
But some people might like it. I'm sorry. It's some kids. As a kid, I would love Thor: Love and Thunder.
Probably. I probably would loved it when I was a kid. Yeah.
As a kid, I would love it.
The thing is, like, what you got to bear in mind is that, you know,
maybe those movies are not meant for us anymore.
Well,
like, will a kid go watch The Eternal? Will a kid watch Doctor Strange and the because those kids movie like Doctor Strange is very like there's a guy getting his brain like squished like a thing like that's not PG-13 like for me like no, do you remember the violence in the NES? It's like the violence is like hard in your face. Like.
Yeah, but the thing is, just because it's a kids movie doesn't mean it doesn't have to be a quality film. Like I said, like you can make good kids movies. We spoke about this before. Pixar, exactly.
Pixar,
like Toy Story is a wonderful film.
I think somebody said that. Like basically, I'm quoting somebody, a French thing, is a kid movie shouldn't be make lightly. You know,
no,
because it is a kid movie. You have to make extra effort for it because those kids are going to build that taste. Because of the movie they're watching.
Yeah, very
so
true.
If you're making those movies, make extra... Look, when you make a movie, make extra effort and you'll be rewarded. And it's not because you're making a kid movie that you should make no effort.
Because they're going to be your customers for the next 20, 30 years. They're going to be the people who... Like with Star Wars, you see it with Star Wars now. Like I know people... Like one guy I used to work with, he's a mad Star Wars fan. Brian O'Shea, you know who you are. He passed that love of Star Wars onto his daughter.
That's my dad did too as well. Like,
yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
So that's what happens. Is like what you're doing is what you're doing there is you're developing generations of customers.
Yeah.
It's a dirty word. We all prefer to think of fans and enthusiasts,
but they're consumer, like
consumer and customers, because people who are paying for your product.
And buy merchandise and watch movies and
watching the cartoons and going to the theme parks,
buy comic books,
buying the comic books, all of that. What you're doing is like you need to invest in your audience, so your audience then invests in you. And now Marvel movies, I'm sorry to fucking say it, they've fallen off the wagon in a big fucking way. Like I said,
the wheel are starting to fall off the wagon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but the horses are dragging the fucking thing behind them because there's no wheels on it. Do you know what I mean? It's a sled at this point. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not good. Like I'm sorry, but from what I've seen, like again, I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen all of the fucking TV shows. I've seen some of them. The only one I kind of came close to enjoying was Moon Knight, and so it became the same
Loki.
sort of shit.
I kind of liked Loki.
Yeah, I didn't mind Loki too much. But the thing is, like. It is noticeable that Marvel are no longer the creative force they once were. And now you can argue as to why those reasons are. I think it's complacency more than anything else.
And I think because what we watch, I understand why there is like strikes of writers, stuff like that. Or strike in an industry.
Man, you're just churning out product. churning out products. That's all you're doing. Churn it. Like Marvel, you used to get like 1 or 2 Marvel movies a year. Now you're getting like 3 or 4 plus fucking TV shows. And like I said before, it's almost like you got to do homework to watch the next fucking Marvel thing. It's ridiculous. Do you know?
I was just thinking of a quote in Jurassic Park. Like you put it in the box and you wrap it up and you sell it. They're like, it's just like, they keep selling it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I mean, the quality of the product should come before all else. And like, you don't have to, and again, like we said this many times before, you don't have to spend fucking $250 million on a movie.
250 million.
$250 million. 25% of $1 billion they spent on this one movie. Why? And I think, again, I reckon they could have shaved off about 50 to $75 million by, actually writing a script, sorting out the script beforehand, sorting out everything, planning out everything accordingly.
Do you know what I mean? 180 million for Thor Ragnarok. So the
$70 million more dollars.
$70 million more dollars.
And do you think that was a $70 million better movie?
No.
Not even fucking close. Thor Ragnarok is a better film because it's tighter and it's got it. Say what you want. I mean, like everyone goes.
There's a rhythm. Thor Ragnarok.
There's a rhythm.
There's pause, of course, but there's rhythm. It's there's character development.
Yes.
For example, there is a character of Bruce Banner, or basically to try to. There's a character of Thor as well. Try to basically, he fell so much and he's basically on the verge of like just giving up everything, but he's just pushing on and stuff like that. And
also the evolution of the relationship between Thor and Loki.
Yes, they went from enemies to enemies. They still want enemies, and this is Thor. Love and Thunder was the first time they're like, I recognize, you tried to stab me in the back. Yeah, I'm not going to trust you anymore.
Yeah, I love you, but I don't trust you.
Yeah, I love you, but I don't trust you. Like, it's like they recognize, they basically acknowledge him better than they ever acknowledged him before.
Yeah,
it's like basically told him like, you're a piece of shit, but you're my brother. I love you.
Yeah,
and I know you're gonna try to stab my back, but
exactly.
We're still brother. There you go. Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. I mean, and then you see this film. I mean. It just feels like I said, I think there's a definite similarity between this and, in my view, there's a definite similarity between this and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in the sense that the quality is all over the place. Like, it's completely inconsistent. Like, some of it looks really fucking good and it looks like an expensive film. And then some of it looks like it's off the, it looks like it's, what's those fucking, like the Flash TV show? No, it's
Flash Gordon?
No.
The Flash.
The Flash, the TV show. Yeah. It looks like something off that. Just cheap special effects that were done on a budget with like no time.
But if the scenario is good, people are watching it. It doesn't matter if your special effects. No, I'm sorry to say that. It doesn't matter if your special effects are good or not. If you have the scenario that go through, if you have the story that go through, if you have the acting that go through, people can forget about the visual.
I think to an extent you're right. I will agree with you to a degree. Let me just explain where I'm at with that. Okay, if you've got a good engaging story, good character development, good characters, well written, you're taking an emotional journey, then you can forgive slightly wonky special effects here and there. Do you know what I mean? But when everything isn't working, then those flaws become so much more apparent. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think that this is endemic of where Marvel is at the moment, and Marvel need to sort their shit out and fucking quickly.
Or just maybe stop and think about it. Instead of releasing a movie every fucking 2 months. Is it 2 months or was it like?
I don't know the frequency, but it's way too frequent. I mean, like, how many Marvel movies have been released this year? Like,
and TV shows as well. Like, because they're really between each other.
How many Marvel products have been released this year? Just in the year of 2023 up to today's date, which is at the time of recording the 12th of July.
Release in order. All the Marvel release in order. I don't care.
So we've just the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's just come out.
Was it like an image of the plan of the MCU thing? Yeah, it's not going to work.
Creaky tables.
Okay. So
Oh, caffeine.
so in just 2022, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther, and Ant-Man and Wasp the next year. There's 3 movies in 1 year, and maybe more TV shows as well.
Yeah. And
same as well, 3 movies in 2021 was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternal. And Spider-Man 4 movie. And Spider-Man in No Way Home as well.
Jesus Christ.
And in between those, you have the Loki series, you have the, I don't know, like all those TV shows that came in as well.
The funny thing is, like, out of all of them, the only one that I've enjoyed watching so far out of Phase 4...
Basically doing like 6, 7, like every year.
Yeah. The thing is, out of all of them, the only one that I actually enjoyed was Spider-Man No Way Home, and that wasn't even made by fucking Marvel themselves. That was made by Sony.
I kind of enjoyed the Hawkeye thing. Maybe I was not expecting that much of it, and I kind of like it as a Christmas
in fairness,
show.
though, well, what's her name again? Oh, she was in fucking True Grit.
Oh,
Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld in that was. I remember watching her as in True Grit and thought she was fucking fantastic in that.
Very great actress.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen her in anything else since other than Hawkeye. I thought she was right in that, actually. I kind of like. I think that she has a lot of promise.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's only about 25. I mean, she's got an immense amount of promise. I think she'll do very well for herself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that. Yeah, in terms of like this whole I don't think any of this has worked. I don't think any of this has worked, and I am, it's like, for instance, in Black Widow, I like Florence Pugh. I thought she was great in that. I thought she was quite, she was kind of a cool character. I like to see what I like. There are little bits and pieces that I like. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But it's not. Look, where Marvel is now. Marvel, I honestly reckon, like, Marvel should just pump the brakes, right?
Less release.
Yeah, stop releasing so much content
and focus on one content, like at least 2 content every year. 1 TV show and 1 movie.
Or like 2 TV shows, 2 movies. Leave it there.
Because you basically that's what happened right now. You burn out your staff.
Yeah, and you burn out your creative start. You burn out the people creating it, and you burn out your audience.
Yeah, the audience. I feel myself burn out. I don't know what. Like, I think I asked Nisha, my old housemate, how'd she find the movie? She's like, meh. Basically, I think the worst thing that a movie can make you feel is meh. Because it didn't transform you, it didn't make you angry, it just meh.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, I wouldn't have watched Thor: Love and Thunder if we weren't doing the podcast. I just felt that because we've criticised, or I have especially, criticised Marvel quite a lot, I felt it was pertinent that I watch a Marvel movie for the podcast so we can talk more directly about it. And I hadn't seen Love and Thunder yet. So I thought, okay, that should be the film we should watch.
And also it comes from Thor Ragnarok that we both love.
Yeah, we do.
We have a love for Thor Ragnarok. I don't know.
And I like Taika Waititi as a director.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. I know he's a bit of a quirky weirdo, but Jojo Rabbit is fucking brilliant.
A beautiful movie.
Such a good film.
And you know what? It had the silliness. He had the seriousness.
Yeah, I mean, and it works.
It's not scared of showing like a very serious theme.
Yeah, very serious themes. And there's some there's some very clever like themes running throughout the film with shoes.
The shoes, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
A mother, like when you look up, when the mother is on the. It's like it's hard to describe the scene when you do a visual, but like Jojo is like. Yeah,
I'll tell you what we'll do. Right, if you haven't watched it, at some point we may actually do it on the podcast. But if you haven't watched it, go watch it now.
Yeah.
So you're not spoiled by the time we do what.
But Jojo Rabbit is a very good movie. But
it's a very good film. It's a beautifully told film. The jokes work, the silliness works. But when the hammer hits down, when it really goes for the emotional gut punch, man, it fucking lands.
Yeah, it lands.
It takes the wind right out of you. But. I don't mean this as a criticism of Taika Waititi, but I think and again, What We Do in the Shadows, he made that probably for next to no money in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Probably trying to get it. Has one thing I like about it is it has its own. You can tell it definitely takes inspiration from British comedy, but also it has its very own unique sensibility about it. It's brilliant. So if you haven't seen it, go see that as well. Taika Waititi definitely is a filmmaker that has his own kind of quirk, his own kind of vision. Much like, say, Wes Anderson.
1.6 million.
He made it for 1.6 million.
I mean, he didn't do for nothing. 1.6 million, like US dollar, or if it's Australian, not New Zealand.
No, USD. It says USD.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of movie. Like, can we make something for? Can we have access to 1.6 million?
Well, look, if we had access, look, the thing is, if you've got a budget, right?
And you ask like a company, I think they asked like a New Zealand TV company to
maybe, yeah. But the thing is, like, what you got to bear in mind is that when you've got a budget, right, and your budget is limited, because that's the thing, between 1.6 million and 250 million dollars, the difference in quality between those two films, the same director.
But it's not the same type of movie as well.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it is. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. It's not an apples comparison, but it's the same director. But we're talking about budgets here, right? Now you'd think if that same director had so much more money, he could do so. But it doesn't feel like that's the case because there's so much more money at stake. You got more people interfering, and honestly, I reckon it's studio interference more often than not that costs a film's success. Because what they're doing is, especially when you've got like a very singular director. Now, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't be surrounded by yes men. There is a fine line to cut, but I think a lot of the people who should be reining back creatives are fellow creatives. Like, for instance, like, I mean, as an artist and a photographer, what I might do is I might turn, like, Rowan might come to me, or I might go to Rowan regarding photography, and we might criticize each other's work, and that brings out the best in us. So, like,
but the opposite is not good either.
Yeah, but the point is, if
there's too much conflict and the director cannot do anything that he wants, like, what's the point?
Yeah, true. I mean, again, fine lines. I do agree with you on that. There are fine lines to cross. But the problem is when you've got people who are just money people, and they're looking at their investment and thinking, "Oh shit, it's not going to work. Spend more money and fix the problem." That doesn't fix the problem. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're fucking talking about. Oh, yeah, put in more jokes. Where? It's like, for instance, I've had people come up to me before, like, with commissioning artwork, and this is why I don't really like doing it, and I probably won't do it ever again in the future. If you want to commission an artwork, go fucking punch something into an AI generator. But when it comes to, people come up to me saying, oh, yeah, can you just change the size of the head? What? Or can you make the nose bigger? Oh, the eyes don't look quite right. Or I remember, I've used this example before. I was drawing a cat and it wasn't floofy enough. I'm sorry, but you're not a creative. You're looking at a half-finished product and you're fucking shit in the bed, and then next thing is you panic and you decide you want to put your fucking tuppence worth in, and then you end up ruining what you're creating. Because you don't understand the creative process, or you got no willingness to understand the creative process. And when it comes down to, like, a great example would be Justice League. That film is a mess, like the original cut, complete fucking mess. Two different directors, Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon. Like, Joss Whedon had to come in and completely fucking rework someone else's movie. And they had to do it. They threw the fucking bank at it, but gave it no time to finish. And by all accounts, it's a fucking dire movie, and it made no money. It lost Warner Brothers $1 billion. It probably lost them hundreds of millions of dollars. And the fact is, most of the problems that were caused by executives in boardrooms not understanding their own fucking product.
And what's just more funny about this? What's it called? What's the movie? The movie we just talked about. Justice League. And we got the Snyder Cut, basically. It was like, let's give it a second shot, and please, just shut up. Yeah. Let me do my job, and shut up.
Yeah.
And it was a success.
Well,
maybe it was a success because people were curious about it.
Yeah, but the problem was it wasn't put out in the cinema, so the thing is we'll never know, Right? It
We
was
never know the
what it could have done.
What it could have done. But you can see by people watching it or people reviewing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who think who rave about it. There's some people who don't. This whole's not, they released the Snyder Cut in the end. I'm happy they did it because that appeases the people that wanted that, and they got the original vision for the film. And great, I'm happy for you. Don't get me wrong, but I just think more often than not, the point it's like, don't get me wrong. You can't. There is this fine line. What you said there a minute ago was correct. It's like if you have too much input, then everything crawls to a halt. If you don't have enough input, and people are just saying yes all the time.
Yes, master. Yes. Oh, it's a great idea.
Of course.
Oh, the goat. Great idea. Let them scream all the time.
I hated those fucking goats.
The goats were a meme. It was a meme. It started from a meme, like a goat, like ah.
Yeah.
Let's put that meme that the internet like that just like last 2 seconds, and let's put it in a 2 hours movie.
Yeah, and keep it going and going and going and going. I mean, I've never wanted curried goat more in my entire life than right then.
But like, there's three type of jokes. There's three like category of jokes.
Right,
there's the jokes, for example, there is the jokes that the comedy of like rupture, basically. You make people laugh by something not expected,
Yeah.
So basically, it's something like like the guy is walking like all badass and he fall down or
slapstick.
It's the bam like that's it just cut from what he was doing and that make the
undercuts it.
Yeah, it makes the laugh work. There is the second one. It's just actually funny.
Yeah.
And the third one is comedy of repetition.
Yeah.
So basically, this thing showed up, and it showed up again. And you know what? You don't know sure. Oh, is it going to show up? Is it going to show up? Yes, it did show up again. That's it. This one is the hardest one to do because you have to expect it and not expect it at the same time.
Right.
What would be a good example of that? I don't know. Like, do you see what I mean? Like the
I get what you're
comedy
saying.
the comedy of repetition. Like, what would be a good thing for that?
Well, like a recurring joke.
A recurring joke in the thing. I try to think out of my head, but like I can't really think.
Yeah, I know it's kind of difficult when you're on the spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but
I guarantee you this. We'll turn the cameras off and it'll come up
like,
about
come
15
straight
different
away,
examples. Yeah, but yeah, no, I definitely take your point. I think what you're saying there is quite right. I mean, the whole the snot, right? Because in Norse mythology, Thor does have two goats, Snarler and Grinder. If you haven't, Neil Gaiman, Norse mythology. Listen to an audiobook and listen to that man narrate the book.
Yeah.
It's fucking wonderful. But yeah, he has two goats, Snarler and Grinder. And the thing is, like, and they drag his chariot behind him. But the thing is, like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Oh, can I say something about the scene? For example, when we need to go to the planet of the gods to ask their help. But when we're there, let's disguise because we don't want to be recognized. It's like, why? And then you got recognized, and then to save all those gods, let's kill them to save them. Like it's just like you're going. It's strange. It's so fucking strange.
Yeah, it's just like there's just so much like
what did just come in? What did just come in like with it? Like what they have to hide themselves.
Yeah,
it's funny in Thor Ragnarok because they have to hide because they're being looked for it, and it comes kind of like. No, was like the thing with this guy's no, you can't. I can see your face. No, you can't. It's like it's silly because like it just do your scarf and for him is hidden, like
Yeah.
Or it's the same funny as well like in all the movies like they just do a cap and glasses and that's it. They're like Captain America is not recognizable and
because he's wearing a baseball cap.
Yeah.
No, that's Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. That's right.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And again, once upon a time, Marvel were producing films like Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is still one of the best fucking Marvel movies.
And it was kind of a spy movie, James Bond. It was a James Bond kind of style.
Because I think what Marvel were trying to do at the time, they were trying to make different kinds of movies.
They were trying to think, let's make it like and that's what like in the multiverse could be a good horror movie. But it was not that good of a horror movie. No,
No, it had horror elements to it.
From
maybe.
Sam Raimi, yeah. Sam
Yeah,
Raimi,
it had some, but again, that film was so chopped up and inconsistent. Like, again, the special effects went from looking actually pretty fucking good to utterly atrocious. And I think, like I said, most of that movie seems to have been reshot, then reshot, then reshot again, which means scenes would change, special effects had to change. They had less time to make those. But
every movie has
yeah,
that.
I know, but the thing is, it's not so much because they say like, oh yeah, we planned reshoots. Because they might plan reshoots to rework a scene or do something like that, but it doesn't feel like they're doing it to rework certain elements anymore. It's like they're creating entirely new scenes, rewriting completely different scenes. You know, it's like you said earlier on about the scene that was cut from the Love and Thunder with Russell Crowe's Zeus. Actually explained to Thor how the Thunderbolt works.
Yeah.
And then next thing is like in the actual cut of the film, he's like, you know, he ends up being the baddie. You know,
the big baddie at the end of the movie.
Yeah, the big baddie in the post credit scene for the next film that's been set up.
Spoiler.
Also another thing that really it's totally a nitpick, but when it's at the end when like it says like Zeus turns around to Hercules. Now, if you know anything about Greek myth, I'm not exactly what you call a scholar on it.
Maybe it's the comic's name as well.
Yeah, it may be the comic's name, but in Greek myth, Hercules is called Heracles. Because it's not Heracles, it means the glory of Hera. Hera being Zeus's wife. That's what it means.
Hercules was not a son of Hera.
No, it was basically because Hera took exception to Hera. Because basically Zeus was going around shagging all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And Heracles and Hera did not like that very much for understandable reasons. So what basically she was. You know, during his 12 labors, Hera did everything she could to fuck it up for him, and until the very end, they became pals again. When the Titans kind of took on the Olympians, which is kind of their version of Ragnarok. But the thing is, Heracles. So anyway, he's called Hercules, which is the Roman Latin title for him. So if they were going to be consistent to the fucking original mythology, Zeus should be Jupiter or Jove, not fucking Zeus. So it's just like also like they play free and loose with Norse mythology as well. So do you know what I mean? I mean, like for instance, in the original Norse mythology, Loki is not Thor's stepbrother; he's Odin's blood brother. You know what I mean? He's more like, yeah, Thor and Loki have this kind of relationship, but they're not like busy mates and brothers. They're like, they've got a very antagonistic relationship.
Is it the same isn't in the comic books? So they're also brother, like
it's
only the Marvel anymore that's stepbrother.
Yeah,
but I think that was to introduce the giants and everything, and to sometimes you have to move things around to make a better story. And I think that Loki being Thor's stepbrother kind of work a little bit more better as well, like, you know.
Yeah, it depends on the context in which you're telling the story. Maybe so, but again, if you're going to use these names, you're going to use these characters.
No, but like it's okay, John. It's okay.
No, I look again. I'm not a scholar, but
if we're doing this, Thanos should have an helicopter.
Yes, you fucking should.
It should have an helicopter with his name on it.
Why did Thanos not have a fucking helicopter, Marvel?
Yeah, no, it does have the blade.
Fucks.
It does have the spinning blade thing at the end of Endgame. That's pretty much like a helicopter thing.
Oh, yeah. The fucking spinning sword.
Basically, this was a joke that's like, you got a helicopter blade somewhere, like, you know. Yeah, so it's spinning the blade like this. This is helicopter. Like, I think it's good to change things. Okay, it shouldn't be called Hercules, or what's the opposite?
Heracles
instead of Hercules.
No, he should be called Heracles instead of Hercules.
But like people know Hercules more than they know Hercules, because the show, for example, there's the TV show Hercules as well.
Yeah.
And they call it Hercules. There is Zeus and stuff like that. Basically, they are familiar with Hercules, but they're not familiar with the Roman thing, and they mix everything up. And that's the fact. They all got mixed up.
Yeah, I know, because that's all very okay. Look, I take your point there, but it's just like it's a personal pet peeve. That's all it really is.
Yeah, it is. It's just,
you know, but in that aside, like getting back into kind of like. Getting back to like Thor: Love and Thunder, like, I mean, like, aside, is there anything that you actually enjoyed about this film?
Do you know what? If it was shorter, keep like.
How long was it?
No, I don't say it was shorter. Like, let me finish. I don't say it's if it was like if there was a slightly less jokes,
Yeah.
just like remove a little bit. Sometimes it's good to just like not giving too much or something. Just step back a little bit. Make it a bit more serious, because how many serious scenes do we have? We have the beginning scene, the opening scene. That's very serious. We have the even the scene when she knows she had cancer is taken completely lightly,
Yeah.
it's completely taken lightly.
Sure.
We have 2 serious scenes in the whole movie, because the death of Krog is not his death. Basically, he's not dead.
He should have fucking died.
He should have fucking died and
I
make
hate
like
Krog.
because.
It's a Taika Waititi self-insert.
I know, but it was a self-insert at the beginning and it worked.
Yeah, it worked the first time around, but he should have died already. Why is he still in it? He's in it so Taika Waititi can be in the fucking movie.
I don't know.
That's the way it comes across to me, at least. Anyway, I do want to find out the running time now that I've queried it. Thor, Love and Thunder,
Running time.
119 minutes. That's nearly 2 hours. It felt longer.
Yeah.
It felt longer. It's not even that long of a film, but it felt longer.
It's also a movie very of its time, very meme. Do you know what I mean? For example, there is like the music. Who can stand on the road? When you remember the split of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and later after that music, the split came in,
Yeah.
Yeah. So the joke was already told that was coming. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew that the joke was coming, and I saw it coming. By the way, instead of doing the split and then put the music on.
Right, gotcha.
That would be a funnier to just doing and then you would continue the fight with the destroying the army with the music. Who can say that the roses? It would be a bit more funnier or something like that. But it's too much cracking in one scene. Let's do this. Let's don't forget about that joke. Go on, do jokes. All my jokes. I want all my jokes in that movie.
Yeah, and also I also feel like Guardians of the Galaxy got absolute short shrift.
Don't you dare cut my jokes. That basically. I kind of feel that Taika Waititi was doing this. Don't you dare cut that joke. The editor, the editor was like, can we just that the rhythm is not that great. Maybe we should reshoot that scene and make it a bit more serious. Change the text. No, who tell you to change the script? Also, do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
this could happen very clearly.
And also, I think. I don't know.
Even the scene when they're in the sink and we realize that the Thor is not actually healing her, and it could be a beautiful.
Thor,
that could be a beautiful scene, but it's cancelled immediately after, with this little girl-to-girl chat and stuff like that. Oh, I took a blade. Oh, I took that. Oh, what's that? A grenade? No, that's a speaker. And then Beyonce's playing music. It just, and also it's a boring shot. It's just a back and forth camera.
Yeah.
There's no it's yeah.
And also the editing absolutely sucks.
The shot was shot for those jokes, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that, what I remember saying is, it feels like there's no craft in this movie. There's no artistry in this movie.
Nobody was nobody, of course, maybe there's artistry with the scene with the light spinning around. Do you know, the little planet, the tiny planet? And the light is
But again, that's late in the movie when it feels like all of a sudden they've jumped up the quality. It's just really peculiar. It's just sometimes the film looks cheap.
No.
It costs $250 million. I don't understand how it can look so fucking cheap at times. Do you know what I mean?
But sometimes looking cheap is good, No. So look, sorry, the movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, the special effect looks cheap sometimes. But that's the style of the movie. And
it's $30 million compared to $250 million. Sorry, no, fuck off. That's not a reason. Look, I'm sorry, but this film should look absolutely spectacular for that kind of money.
It is spectacular.
But the problem, but it gets back to the crux of what I was saying earlier on. Because there's so many people interfering in, because the film's been so badly chopped up, and then all of a sudden they've got to redo effects. And because they've got to redo effects, it means they've got less time to redo the effects. So it doesn't look as fucking good because they don't have the fucking time. It's just it just is. It's endemic in a lot of modern cinema. Marvel is the kind of I know they're the kind of the what would be the term? You know, they're the ones getting kicked for it the most because they're the biggest fucking target. But the fact of the matter is, like, it's so fucking obvious that these movies, like, if you don't have full faith in the movie, if you feel like, oh yeah, we've invested so much money into this film that we can't lose any money on it, then why the fuck are you spending so much goddamn money in these movies? Why don't you just fucking cut the budgets? Cut the budgets, make more movies, make better quality movies, concentrate and put in as much money on the screen as possible. Like, for instance, have like one or maybe two special effects teams. Like, for instance, in Lord of the Rings, right, the trilogy, from what I understand, it was mostly done by it was done by Weta. Yeah, Weta did all the special effects for that movie. And 20 years, no, sorry, fuck it, yeah, over 20 years later, those movies still look fucking awesome. All right? How is it films now look worse with better technology and bigger budgets?
Okay. One thing I was like going to say from the movie that everybody shit on, it was the scene when the son of Abdul appear. And everybody was like, oh, that CGI is shite. It's not the CGI that's shite. Because if you think about it, in the movie, Abdul is using the power for the first time.
Axel.
That's okay. Abdul's son. And
Heimdall's son.
Heimdall's son. Yeah, son. And basically, it's the first time using it, so it's not perfect. Do you know? That could be a directional thing. But you know what? That shot look bad because it's a boring shot. What's the background of that shot? It's just two windows inside of the Mary Hall, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It could have just by the photography, you could have made more interesting. And maybe if your special effect wasn't bad, I think the special effect was good when they did this. They were just limited of the vision as well. Like, how do you want to show that Abdul is like talking to Thor through telekinesis?
Yeah.
Like projection, like, because Abdul power is like projection. It can see everything everywhere all at once. That's Abdul power.
Heimdall, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you like introduce this with his son? Like, so I think the floating head is good. It's fine. It's a good shot. It's a good CGI. But the problem was the shot it was in, the frame it was in.
But also, I think what affected quite a lot of that kind of stuff as well was also the color grading. The color grading in that film is fucking awful.
Sometimes you go like the color is all over the place in the movie.
Yeah,
as a style as well.
Sometimes like it doesn't have a style because it's so fucking inconsistent.
Yeah, but the making like black and white in one scene and then thing is that scene, and I think the color of the armor changed a lot as well. The only one when she is on Earth, the yellow are almost green, the gold is almost green.
Yeah.
And then later on in the movie, the color is fine. Like, you know, it's like a gold, you know?
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like, this is the point. What that does is that emphasizes what I was saying earlier on.
It's disconnected shots.
Yeah, it's like the shots look disconnected. The special effects don't look quite right. I think, to be perfectly honest with you, like, going back to that Axel scene where, like, he's communicating for the first time, I don't think it looks good. I think it looks fucking awful.
I think it's more because of the shot was the entire shot.
I think what it is. I think what you did was it doesn't look good because then this is what you said. It lacked vision. It was poor photography. It lacked imagination. Like, if at the end of the day, as a special effects team, you can. And again, I don't really blame special effects artists because they're working on tight budgets. Like, they're basically working like apparently with special effects companies, and I've heard a little bit about this. Hold on a second. I've heard a little bit about this where special effects companies are basically they're undercutting each other to get the work.
Yeah.
Right. There's no unionization, so those guys don't get fucking the benefits that say you know, the writers do, the directors do, and the actors do. So they don't get any of those kind of benefits. They work like fucking dogs. They may get well paid, but they're working fucking hard for that. And while I don't, you know, there's such a thing as there's a difference. There's a fine line between working hard and being overworked. You know, so like with time crunch and everything else, like I just think it's ridiculous that you cannot expect quality. There's that Venn diagram between, what is it, time, money, and quality, right? Either you give the people the time, you pay the money, you give people the time, and you get the quality, right? Everyone works to a deadline. We all appreciate that. I mean, time isn't infinite, and budgets aren't infinite. But if you're constantly chopping and changing, if you're changing things in and out, if you're messing with things during the process, if you don't have a clear defined vision at the start of the film and you keep fucking with it during the course of the film,
cutting corners and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you end up having to rush things. You end up having that impairs the quality, that impairs the writing, that impairs the script, that impairs the narrative, that impairs the visuals, that impairs the sound. Like there's sometimes when it looks really fucking good. But you can tell those, like for instance, like the action scenes where that was cut to the music, like especially the last scene that was cut to that kind of guitar solo from November Rain.
But that was a similar shot to the bridge shot in Ragnarok.
Yeah, there was. But the thing is, like you can tell in certain aspects where like the original vision was more or less intact and it looks really fucking good. But then you can tell where like, oh Jesus Christ, they really, really had to crunch for this one, didn't they? So
at some part you think like the movie, like for example for the Axel scene, instead of saying like let's do this, they say like we could do this. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of let's do this like that and like that.
It's that whole fix it in post mentality.
It was a fix and post mentality.
Yeah. It's like, I mean,
we'll fix that. We figure out that scene later.
Yeah.
Let's focus on something else.
Exactly. And what does that do? That
ruined the rhythm of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. So, in some movies, you can kind of like for instance, if you've got a movie that doesn't rely so heavily on CGI, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
It's mostly in photography.
Some movies are really heavily on CGI. For example, The Life of Pi.
Yeah,
entirely made of CGI. The vision of the movie was made with the idea of the CGI in place.
Yes, and every shot of that movie was fucking. I mean, unfortunately for the production house, apparently it went out of business, which I think is a crying shame because it's a spectacular looking film. But
another movie like that was like this. They release the movie, then they close up because
it happens all the time, unfortunately, especially with effects houses. Do you know what I mean? There's a few giants like ILM who have been around for like 40 plus years and Weta who have been around for nearly 30 at this stage. Peter Jackson, and the fact that they were actually both set up by directors, I don't think it's a coincidence either. But
like there'll be more of those.
Of course there will. I mean, you're gonna have lots of like special effects houses, but I just think that there's, like Peter Jackson and Weta, George Lucas and ILM. I don't think it's a coincidence. But also, like when you've got one creative vision and one team working towards that vision, then it becomes so much easier. This is another big problem with these fucking budgets. There's just too many people involved. There's too many fingers in the pie, and it just fucks the whole thing up.
Do you know, like that's I think his story is repeating himself a little bit.
Yeah,
and we put too much money into movies, and it doesn't help it.
No.
And that's what that happened before. I told you the story of cinema. At some point in cinema history, they're making like 3 hours movie, like giant sets. Basically, they were recreated the pyramids, and they were recreated like the Colosseum and stuff like that, like horses and stuff like that, and thousands of extra and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then, like people like were bored of it, and they start to go through smaller movies, more personal movie.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna reach like that was Marvel was at the beginning. They were personal.
Yeah, they were about characters.
They were about characters. They were personal. Same with the Nolan movie. It was personal. It was like about conflicts. About talk about your character. Don't just show things to be cool.
Yeah.
For example, like the first Thor, I think Thor Ragnarok has some character, has some development, has some story to 100%.
Tell. Absolutely.
And then it shows cool stuff as well.
Yeah.
Same for, I don't know, like another example of that. No, a movie doesn't have to be cool all the time.
Well, like for instance, like everyone knows that Ridley Scott, Ridley Scott I always feel is a very hit and miss director, right? Some of his movies are fantastic. The Martian is one of my favorite movies of all time. I fucking adore that film.
We still have to watch Oppenheimer.
That's Christopher Nolan. But I'm talking about Ridley Scott.
I'm sorry about that.
I know what you mean.
I confuse the two all the time. Sorry about that.
That's all right, sunshine. Don't worry.
I confuse names.
But the thing is, with Ridley Scott, everyone knows he's a fantastic director. He directed the first Aliens movie. The first Aliens movie is fucking outstanding. Brilliant film. Prometheus is fucking dog shit. It is awful. It is so bad. And the fact that the same man created The Martian The same man directed Gladiator.
Gladiator, a beautiful movie.
Fucking amazing film. But I'm not a big fan of Blade Runner. I made my feelings about that clear.
It's a hard take. It's you have to love it or you have to hate it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think like most people. Oh, visually it's fantastic. I mean,
visually beautiful.
Visually amazing film. Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner is a beautiful film and it still holds up visually today.
Basically, the atmosphere, I fall in love with the atmosphere, the music, the character. Even the character I fall in love with. But I didn't fall in love with the story.
No. I just thought it was plodding. And
maybe the writing, all the writing.
Yeah, I just thought it was really plodding and it was really anticlimactic, which is really peculiar because I really loved 2049. I actually thought it was fucking really, really good. But I don't know, it is what it is. I mean, like, I'm sure there's people out there who will vehemently disagree about my feelings with Blade Runner.
Also,
and we can have that discussion.
Blade Runner did have different release and different like cuts?
It's had many different cuts. I've seen the director's cut. I've seen the original theatrical cut. I've seen them all. But yeah, I'm at some point I might give it another go and try and like it again, or try and watch it again because like everyone says it's so brilliant. But I just don't see it. I don't understand. Maybe it's just.
I think it's brilliant. Technically, it's brilliant, but like I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think the point what I was trying to get to though, was that like directors, even whether it's like I don't think any one director will always get it right. Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite directors. Do I love all of his films? No, I don't. Quentin Tarantino is probably my single most favorite director, but I'm not the biggest fan of Death Proof. There are, I don't think any film director always hits it out of the park.
Nobody's perfect.
No one's perfect. I mean, as an artist myself, like some work I do, I think is fucking. I'm pretty pleased with it. Other work that I do, I don't like at all.
And I think that Ridley Scott shouldn't be too much being hit on Prometheus because some directors make bad movies sometimes.
Yeah, Alien Covenant. I haven't seen Alien Covenant. By all accounts, it's even worse. But the thing is, it's not so much like at the end of the day, if you're a public figure and you put something out in the world, you've got to expect to be criticised.
Yeah.
Our podcast we put this out into the world, it's going to get criticised.
We hope they'll be criticised because no critic is worse than
the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. Oscar Wilde.
There you go. I
love that man. But the thing is, yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's not so much like I'm kicking like whether getting back to Thor Love and Thunder. It's not like I want to kick Taika Waititi. I don't enjoy fucking kicking people. I don't enjoy fucking
like you don't enjoy kicking Ridley Scott.
No, I don't. I think in some respects, I think he's one of the greatest directors to ever, one of the greatest British directors there has ever been. But do I love all his movies? No, I don't. The thing is, yeah, I mean, if you create something, anything that you create, someone's going to have a feeling about it one way or the other.
But sometimes the feeling is
as long as you can articulate it and the criticism's in good faith, I think that's fine.
Sometimes, like when I do photography, it's like, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be great, and then I edit it. It's like, fuck that shit. Yeah. Sometimes you miss. Sometimes you're blinded by you're just blinded by like
yeah, you get so, like, in your own way.
You get you just like. You think that was a good idea. You think that was a good idea. You think that was a good idea. Then you realize later on, like,
maybe not.
That's not such a good idea, or maybe I didn't work enough on it.
Yeah, all that. You're not able to kind of realize the idea that you have in your head,
and it's for that's good to have like other people that you trust, and that you respect, and you respect also their work as well, or their judgment as well. It could be a friend or something like that. For example, I would never ask my mother if that thing I did is good. She's always going to say yes. Yeah. Oh, my son, everything you do is lovely. It's like my mother is a bit my yes man. If I'm listening to her, I will just I don't think I will get where I am. Like, you know?
I think that's a fair point because, like, I mean, the whole reason why me and you work well together is like there are times like I'm very self-critical, you're very self-critical, but we also like there are times when you'll in good faith turn around to me and say whether it's my artwork or my photography, you'll turn around and say, yeah, that works, that doesn't, and I'll do the same for you.
Do you remember the meme I sent you? The guy's like, oh, just did that edit. Can you tell me what it is?
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
I wouldn't change anything except maybe for this, and this. Change the color, change the music, and re-edit the thing. Otherwise, I will not touch it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like that happens. I mean, but the thing is, like, I think it's important to have people like that around you. I just think when you're surrounded by people who just won't get on their knees and suck your dick,
or doesn't want to hurt you.
Yeah, or the worse still, they're too fucking cowardly. Like they're worried about the repercussions that if you like, for instance, if they say something, if you're criticizing someone's work and you're worried about the repercussions of that criticism, whether they fire you or whatever else. I think this is the problem with positions of power as well. Like George Lucas, when he made the prequels, like he was basically had absolute power at Lucasfilm, so he could make whatever the fuck he wanted, and because of that, he made 3 pretty mediocre movies.
You know what that happened in Star Wars was that basically every time there was a design for a character, all the artists were making like 1,000 of different like drawings or
concepts,
like and he was the one deciding of it. Like and there's nobody's like, well, here are all the concept, but personally, I really like this one. I really like this one. Can you have a look?
Yeah.
Nobody was saying that. It was just Lucas decide.
Yeah.
Shush. Or do you know what? You choose that character. Then I thought maybe I can do this and this to improve it. And maybe George Lucas said like, oh, yeah, that was a great idea. No, instead it was just George Lucas saying like, oh, I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. I want a little bit of this and a little bit of that in that one. So like,
yeah,
it was like, and there's for that sometimes in casting, for example, they take different people to all agree on something. So like when you do a casting for a movie or theater, it's a vote.
you'll have like 3 people deciding.
Yeah, there's 3 people deciding and voting which one should be.
Yeah.
There's not only one person because sometimes your judgment can be flawed. Like
so things you don't only want one person deciding, but you don't want fucking 15 people sitting around trying to work out exactly what's the right one because you never get anywhere.
And you want the people with the same vision as well.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, I mean, like, I think also like when it comes to cinema as well, like I think we can kind of get away with it a little bit because we're kind of artists in a very much more individual sense, and we can kind of.
We're individual artists.
Yeah, but when you're making something that requires the skill and craft of other people,
a movie is a teamwork, 100% a teamwork.
Yeah, you can't make a movie on your own. It's just not possible. And like no one's going to be good at everything. Like you might get like Quentin Tarantino is a great writer, right? But I think he has a very clear creative vision in his films. But what he'll do is if he wants to have that old film technique, he'll get people who are expert cameramen on those cameras who can then shoot. He'll get someone, he might have his taste in music, but he's not going to sit down and mix it.
Maybe he's not good at costume. He's not good at costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he will still have the expert choosing the costume, but he will have this final word in it. But he will still have consult from an expert. Like.
Yeah, it requires a lot of delegation. You got to be able to trust the people around you, and I think sometimes, like when it comes to creative auteurs, right? Sometimes it might come to a point where it's like they don't really trust anyone with their vision. They want to do everything themselves, and I do think that shows, especially with those prequels.
I think Denis Villeneuve is somebody that let his team work a lot.
Yeah. Well, quite probably. I don't know.
He lets his actor like do things. Do you know? It was I saw that thing that called pop on the internet, and it was the difference between a director and what's his name, Clint Eastwood directing.
Yeah.
And a director would be shouting "Action now, ready!" thing to almost ruling, and Clint Eastwood would be just like, "Okay, go on. You can do this. Go on."
Yeah.
And cut. And one of the things that Matt Damon thing, like, are you sure you don't want to do this again or stuff like that? Why? You want to wait everybody's time. Like I like that vision of maybe the character. But basically, do you know why he was saying this? It was because he was treating his team like horses. Because every time the actor say action now, he will like jump the horses and they will go crazy like in the Western movie. And so, like, instead of going action now, it's just like respectfully, just like, okay, go.
Yeah.
They were like, it's
he's an actor himself.
He's an actor himself. He's been in the other people's shoes.
Yeah.
And that's not that. I think a lot of directors should be actor.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I think.
Or a lot of actors should be a bit of director as well. There's a lot of that nowadays.
Well, I think there's always been an element that was because you hear about actors going on to be directors all the time. Also, like for instance, like especially with the John Wick movies, like how choreographers
That's true
became directors. So like
and we got the John Wick trilogy because of it. Like,
well, it's a quadrilogy now.
Quadrilogy, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important that yeah, I think a director maybe not just has to be an actor, but maybe has like an expertise in another field, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Has a bit more of a rounded skill set.
For example, like is a director and a writer, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, exactly.
As another one, let's see, who's it like another job like?
Well, Edgar Wright does quite a lot of his own writing
like
as well.
Like editor. Yeah, Edgar Wright is the great editor.
That's great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's
like, that shows in his films.
It shows in his film that he puts special
emphasis
on editing. Maybe Wes Anderson was a stage manager or stage decor.
Well, Sam Mendes came from the theatre.
Sam Mendes come from a stage director.
Yeah, he was a stage director originally.
Yeah. Like let's say like the director from the John Wick movie, there was like stuntman before. Yeah, there's stuntman and stunt artist. So and Clint Eastwood was an actor.
Yeah, exactly. So like being a director for the sake of just being a director, I think this is probably where
but like
I think it can work, but it doesn't always work. But in terms of I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Taika Waititi's other skill sets are, but
I think he's a good writer as well.
Yeah, he writes. He does a bit of acting himself. He's an artist in his own right. I think he does a bit of art. I think with him, he's like you can tell like the man is fucking unbounded talent. He really does.
What's the name of the director of The Shining?
Oh, Stanley Kubrick,
photographer.
Yeah.
He was a photographer. He started in photography. He was working for New York, or maybe not New York, maybe like he was working for a magazine,
right?
As a photographer.
So because of that, he knew composition.
He knew composition and
colors
for that. So he had the knowledge of it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's loads of transferable skills. I mean, I think in terms of look, not Quentin Tarantino. Sorry, Taika Waititi is clearly a very talented dude.
He's a very good director.
Very talented. Yeah, I mean, he has talent abounding,
but he has a madness. He has a madness about him.
Yeah, he does have a bit of. Yeah, he has a madness. He has kind of a very kind of. Shall we say
almost childish kind of nature, kind of.
Yeah.
It's
a joie de vivre.
A joie de vivre, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say. No, I thought you'd like that.
I like that.
But yeah, he definitely has a bit of. He's clearly a creative dude. He's creative. He's clearly got a lot of talent, and he's got many strings to his bow. But I think I don't know. Getting back to this movie here, I just think that I'm like I said earlier on. Right, I honestly think this movie is not very good.
No,
at all. I don't think this really affects him going forward. I still think he's going to get work, and I still think he's going to do fantastically well for himself.
He's doing fantastic for himself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he deserves it. He's a great. I mean, he does.
There's a lot of work was put into it. And the movie is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work.
And you know what? In fairness, maybe it was a stressful one as well.
Just checking how long we're going.
We're going for an hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes.
I think we're starting to get to the end of it.
Yeah, I think we're going to round this out now.
We should appreciate like that the effort was made. Like a lot of people put tears and sweat in that movie.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
And I feel bad critiquing movie because when you know how they're made, like just give them like a.
Well, no, I don't feel in terms of critiquing, right? I don't think necessarily it should be considered like I don't feel bad critiquing, but I think I always try and maintain it comes from a place of good faith. Like I don't I'm gonna be straight here. When it comes to a lot of critiquing I hear on YouTube, I think a lot of it is just done for the clicks. And I think a lot of it is just done, like they pick on certain controversial issues of the day and they kind of like hone on that. I'm not going to name names because I'm not looking interested in picking fights.
Trust us, we're not doing that for the click.
No, we're not doing this for the clicks.
We don't even do like recent movie who just came out just to surf on the vibe of it. Like,
well, the thing is, like in fairness though, like myself and Rowan used to live together, right? Yeah. And we used to do this all the time. Yeah. We used to sit down, we'd watch movies, and we sit down.
When the credit roll, we talk about it.
Yeah.
And what was great? What was bad about it? You know, like, and we just wanted to transfer that to for more people. Like,
yeah, it just makes sense. I mean, like, it was your idea in the first place, and I think it made a lot of sense.
It was more your idea, more like.
Well,
was it? Was it mine?
Well, let's both take
credit for it. It's been so long. Yeah, it was my idea. It was just it was my plan all along.
Yeah, you crafty fucker, you. But no, I think. But the thing is, this is what we used to do. And I think the problem with a lot of critiquing that you do hear about it on YouTube, especially, is it is done for the clicks. It is the rage bait almost. I mean, like, you know, again, picking a certain like hot button issue and making that the reason why.
Everybody's shitting on that movie. Let's shitting about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I don't want to shit on this. I don't go into a movie like wanting to hate it. I mean, I went into this movie, I was curious about it.
Me, I was trying to love. I knew I was not going to love that movie, but when I started, I really tried to love that movie.
Yeah, the thing is, like,
because you knew it was going to be meh.
Yeah, I think what it was
when you watch it. With me, I knew it was going to be meh, and I said, like, I'm going to try to appreciate everything that I'm going to see in that movie. And you can see I was starting like, gaggling at the first joke and stuff like that. You know, yeah. I was in the mind of you know, like, let's go movie. Give me what you have. I'm going to buy everything that you give me, because you started that movie with like, do you like, you know, with like concern, or do you like think, oh, I'm going to.
I went in with trepidation.
You're expecting to get disappointed.
No. Let me. All right,
what were you? Because I'm talking about you. I don't know what you were thinking of. But
all right, okay. The way I came into this movie with a degree of trepidation, I will confess that.
Okay.
All right, but I wanted to enjoy it. I genuinely did.
I did. Me too. Do you know what? I let myself go, and I giggled at the first joke was what Thor Ragnarok going on his hammer like Harry Potter.
Yeah,
that was like
I thought it was stupid.
It's stupid, but like I laughed because it's like, let's go, Roman. Let yourself in that movie. Put your brain into the locker over there, close it, and just watch that movie.
You know, the things you can do that. There are movies like that, like fucking like most of the Fast and Furious films or Transformers movies or whatever. But I think, for the purposes of the, like, if we're going to sit down and have like an honest, good, again, emphasis on this, good faith, got a conversation about the actual creativity behind the movie and what we thought of the film. Like I said, I mean, I'm genuine in my criticism. I think a lot of the blame for failures of films often lies with non-creative people trying to input their opinion and fucking up the whole thing.
It's the money over the creativity.
Yeah, it's like this is why I would rather film studios just like, all right, okay, fuck all this nonsense off. Let's just, like, instead of like putting $250 million in one movie, why don't we make $550 million movies, create a few new franchises, give a few new people a go, try out new actors, try out new people, develop new franchises like John Wick successfully did and deserves to be where it is. I may have had, like I said before, I do have my problems with the third movie, but it deserves to be where it is because it came from fucking nowhere and it built itself up over time. And it's developed quite understandably a loyal fan base. And people, look, there are people who love John Wick 3, and God bless you. I didn't enjoy it quite so much, but I love the first one. The first one's still fucking fantastic. But the problem is, like, when you got non-creative people, and I don't mean to sound like there's like this kind of, like, human beings are human beings, but I do believe in aptitude. I don't necessarily believe in talent, although I did say Taika Waititi is talented. I don't necessarily.
No, he has skills that he proved. Yeah,
he is apt. Like, I do believe in things such as aptitude. Like, I do believe there are certain things that you kind of lean towards. Like, I lean towards art and visuals. So do you, I'd say, for the most part. But you play a bit of guitar.
Double.
Yeah. But I see, but there are some people who are more kind of like zeroed in on music and are really talented at music, have really developed that talent over many years.
Or in mathematics, or
yeah, exactly. There are people who are very good at certain skills. I'm sure the people who are sitting in, who are like sitting as accountants or wherever, they're very good at numbers and they're fucking like they know the balance sheets and everything else. But the problem is when they start interfering in shit they know nothing about, that's when things fuck up.
And at the end of the day, art is not about money.
No. This is the problem.
And this is a problem in the day and age. Art has become about money. So the movie has to be released because of money. This has to be released because of money. Do you know, like, it's all about money.
No, I think this is kind of like, there's this kind of dissonance between the creative fields and financial fields, right? And people on this side don't understand this. And there's a reason why a lot of creative people suck at business, because they don't understand it. right? So there is this kind of uncomfortable, and when the two are kind of like are in touching distance, like when it comes to making films,
Yeah.
right? They're in touching distance and they intersect. You have this kind of like uneasy kind of relationship where the creative people don't really understand money because they just think, oh, just give me more money and it'll be better and I can do more. And then the money people are like, wait a minute, you're spending too much fucking money here. We're not going to turn a profit. And what are you pointing
No,
at?
I was just pointing out. I was thinking about something. But continue what you're saying. Sorry.
So, there's this uneasy distance between the two fields, and especially when the budgets are this fucking big. You know, when the financial people start getting their hairs at the back of their neck start twitching. You know, they start panicking because they're spending so much money, and it's like, oh my god, what do we do? What do we do? Like, honestly, like creativity is born from constraint. Give people X amount of money, tell them, right, go make a movie.
Yeah.
Right. And
if they ask more, just do like.
So no, you got a budget.
You got a budget. Oh,
you
have a budget.
There's your budget. You got $50 million to make a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to give you more. I'm going to give you less.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there's your $50 million. Now fuck off and make.
Because
a film.
with a low budget, you can make a great movie.
Yeah, you can. Like, but at the same time, but the more those numbers start creeping up, I'd say anything past 100 or 120 million.
Yeah.
Then it starts getting like, people who are signing the checks are getting a little bit fucking.
Another example of that is like in the first Deadpool movie, it was supposed to be a gunfight at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And because they've spent all that money in the first beginning of the movie with the gunfight,
yeah,
and all the promotion thing,
yeah,
they couldn't make the gunfight at the end. So they have to just make, we're going to do it with a sword this time, or stuff like that. Yeah.
Creativity is born from constraints.
Yes, exactly. And also when you were saying that artists are poor businessmen.
More often than
not. There's a lot of people who are watching here right now, or maybe a better photographer than I do, a better writer than Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
A better thing, but they just don't know how to sell it.
Yeah.
They're I'm sure there's somebody's watching there is like a fucking great painter or a fucking great drawing and stuff like that, but they just kill it.
Well, look at it this way. I'm 42 years old. I'm a really good fucking artist, but have I made much money in my entire life as an artist? No. Why? Because I'm still trying to figure this shit out. Because I don't see things like, you get people who are natural salespeople. They can fucking talk the ears off a donkey. They can sell a pen to someone, to a fucking secretary. You know, they can sell ice to fucking Inuits. Mm. You know, there are people out there who have got a verve for selling. You know, and there are people like me who just can't do it for love nor money.
No, me either. I'm
it's
a
just
terrible salesman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you undervalue yourself left, right, and center.
I always try to make my prices as a photographer. I always try to put my prices the lowest, and I try to be fair. And even if you try to be fair, people just don't want to. Sometimes don't want to. I don't know. It's just it's hard for me to the business thing is hard for me.
Yeah, and the thing is, there are people out there who are fucking brilliant business people, but just suck at the creative fields. This is why, getting back. We'll try and get back to this though, so we can round this out and go home. I think the big problem is when it comes to movies like this, and I think Marvel's definitely suffering from it because their budgets have gone fucking stupid in the last few years. Like $250-300 million. I mean, why?
Maybe it's I don't know.
Was the first Iron Man made for fucking $300 million? No, it wasn't. Was the first Thor movie made for
after everybody has to be paid as well?
Yeah, I think
I really think that everybody should be paid for the time they make.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what it comes down to is what I was saying earlier on. When it comes to a director, if you pitch a studio, you turn around to a studio and say, "Here's my idea for it." This is what it used to be like. You go in and you pitch a studio. Right, and you say, right, and if a studio decides to pick up the script or pick up your idea and get you to make the film, they'll turn around to you and say, all right, then, here's your budget. Don't go over it because you're not going to get any more money. And they go make a movie.
Yeah.
And they put it out.
Yeah.
And if it's a success, the studio makes money, the creatives make money, they get more work. Brilliant. If it fails, well, you're not going to get work again.
Which is, yeah.
You know, I think...
But sometimes the failure of a movie doesn't depend on one person.
No, yeah, but that's kind of irrelevant. That's not the point I'm really making. The point I'm making is if the studios are not committing as much money to the projects, then they can afford to, they feel more comfortable stepping back because they're not overly.
They
not
always want to have a
divesting
profit.
themselves.
They
into
always
it.
want to have a profit.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's a lot easier to make a profit when you're not fucking throwing 200-300 million. Because the thing is, like, again, well, we spoke about this before. I remember watching something regarding like how like they work out how much a movie needs to make. Like they say, for instance, if a movie's say $200 million, yeah, right, double that again for your marketing, so that's 400 million. Then you got to bear in mind that on average, a picture house will take half the takings of the ticket sales. Then the other half, on average, goes to the film studio. So really, instead of needing to make $200 million back, it needs to make $300 million. So now all of a sudden, from a $200 million movie, you need to make minimum back $500 million to just turn a profit, to break even. It's silly. It's stupid. But if you do that at $50 million, the chances of you making a huge amount of money are a lot fucking greater than if you put $200, $300, $400, $500 million into it. It just stands to reason. Cut the budgets, invest in quality. Just tell people, and you can get loads of good Marvel movies.
Or not invest in quality, invest in idea.
Yeah, invest in ideas
instead of money, instead of effect or stuff like that. Invest in idea.
And not only that, get one pick. Right, the thing is, like, if you've got $50 million and you know you got to make every fucking red cent work, you'll go to one picture house and say, right, okay, you'll have everything fucking like more or less. Of course, there was always acts of gods. There was always unforeseen circumstances. There's always things you need to rework.
For example, like there's movie curses, like for example, Don Quixote from was it tirade?
Oh yeah,
like so many problems. So many times, like he I think he finished his movie a few years back. Finally, just burst the blister, like yeah.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, like, yeah, that does happen.
Also, Thierry Gilliam is a mad director.
Yeah,
like if you say like, oh, Tarantino was a writer, Scorsese was like a photographer, or was it Thierry Gilliam was a madman before he became a director.
Yeah, because he started that as the animator for Monty Python.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But that's the thing, though. I mean, like, yeah, there are acts of gods. There are unforeseen circumstances. But generally speaking, like, if you've got everything more or less planned out, then you know, right? If you know where the money is going and you allow a little bit of leeway one way or the other, then great. But if you're throwing like $200-300 million and you just turn around and say, oh, it's okay, we've got the budget, fix it in post, then that's when you come up with problems, and that's why I think Thor: Love and Thunder just ended up being the complete fucking mess of a movie that it is. So, yeah. Should we round this out?
I think we should.
Okay. In terms of scores, like I said earlier on, I'd give it about I'd say just mid threes. Sorry.
I'll give it like under 5, like, like I'll give it like a 4.
Yeah.
A 4 or 3.5.
Okay.
Because there is
There's so many problems with it.
But like acting wise, some actors were like great, I think. There's like good ideas and stuff like that. There's cool special effects and stuff like that were made. But the problem, they were like overcast by that poor writing and poor like editing,
inconsistencies all over the place, and the fact that like I said, somehow a $250 million movie looks so cheap.
Yeah, it is.
It's such a shame.
Maybe it was a style as well, like
look, anyway, we can talk about it all the live long day. I think we'll round it out there. So everybody, thank you for taking part in today's edition of the Post Watch Post Mortem. Your attendance has been very much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyway, my name's been John Clare.
And I've been Roman Presh.
And we'll see you next time.
Yep, we will.
Bye.
Bye-bye.